Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Cheryl. We're at our home here in Cochrane, Alberta, and we want to acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the beautiful land of Treaty 7. This is a traditional territory of the Stoney Nakoda people and home of the Blackfoot Confederacy of Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai, and the home of the Dene people of Tsuut'ina Nation, as well as home of Métis Region Number 3.
We thank you for signing on to this. We're going to take about an hour and tell you the story of New Story Community. New Story Community has a mission statement, which is to promote the flourishing of Indigenous women in a place of safety, beauty, and community. What it is a supportive recovery residency program, holistic in its care for Indigenous women who are going to be continuing a journey of healing and being equipped. It offers faith-based practical support for vocational success and for spiritual formation. These women will live together beginning in September 2021 on a small island in British Columbia for 8 months. They'll be surrounded and supported by a strong Christian community. They'll participate in trauma-informed counseling, in Bible and academic studies, in personal and spiritual formation, and in various skills development. And as well, each woman is going to, prior to coming in, will have set and then we'll work toward achieving a list of personal goals. And so the video you're about to watch, you're going to see and meet a lot of our friends. You're going to hear a lot about the program. And one of the first people that you're going to meet, not the very first, but an interview with my oldest, well, not oldest in terms of age, but oldest in terms of how long way back we go. My longest standing Indigenous friend, Tal James, is going to interview me about New Story Community.
And you'll also meet my longest standing Indigenous friend, Marnie Elliott from Cowichan. Tal and Marnie are part of our New Story advisory team, along with Melissa Lockheed and Graham Bruce, who you'll also meet during the next hour. We are deeply thankful for all our friends who have helped us dream and now launch New Story Community.
We want to give a shout out to her son Adam, who has done all the technical work on this and taken all the various pieces and put them together in a nice, smooth order. Again, it's about an hour, and then we'll be back at the end to tell you how you can be involved in this work. Without further ado, New Story Community.
My name is Brian Dirksen. I live in Abbotsford, British Columbia, the traditional home of the coastal Salish people. I've known Mark and Cheryl Buchanan personally for about 20 years. People with integrity down to the bone. Their vision to form the New Story Community as a way of serving Indigenous women is so vitally important. You know, there's so many heartbreaking stories in the history of Indigenous Christian relations. Now is the time for a new story. You know, serving these precious women in this holistic way. Please consider joining me in helping support the New Story Community with Cheryl and Mark Buchanan.
Hi there. My name is Tim Pippis. I'm a pastor in Southwest Calgary. We're on Treaty 7 land, which is the territory of the traditional Blackfoot nations, and that includes the Siksika and the Piikani and Kainai and Tsuut'ina nations today. From the first time Mark started telling me about New Story, I got excited about it. And I got excited about it because New Story is really about our Father's heart for his daughters. And I'm a father of 3 daughters. And so just in a small way, I think I get that in a neat way. Do you want to say hi quick? Hi. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to see what God's going to do. I deeply respect the way Mark and Cheryl are stepping out, but in faith and by faith, even in Mark's old age. And finally, I am a little bit suspicious because they have chosen the most beautiful place in Canada that I think I've ever been to move to for this new adventure. So maybe a little bit of self-interest there, but nonetheless, I'm really excited to see what God's going to do. Can you say bye, sweetie? Bye.
Hi, I'm Ken Shigematsu. I serve as a pastor and live here in Vancouver, the traditional unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish Coast Salish peoples. I am thrilled that Mark and Cheryl Buchanan are beginning this new ministry called New Story. They've been such an inspiration to me and my church to pursue conciliation with the Indigenous peoples right around us. And so I look forward to seeing what God does through them. It's going to be amazing.
Hi, I'm Liz Brandt.
And I'm Paul Brandt. We live in Cochrane, Alberta, the traditional home of the Blackfoot and Stoney Nakoda people in Treaty 7. We want to give a shout out to New Story community and our friends Mark and Cheryl Buchanan for the amazing work that they're embarking upon.
Today we're joining Mark Buchanan. Mark and I have had a friendship for quite a number of years. Mark, would you be interested in sharing a little bit about your first impression of when we first met? I would like to say that my first impression of you was, you showed up at a North American Indigenous Ministries staff conference to speak and encourage us and you didn't strike me as a normal kind of a preacher. You showed up and you had this Elvis shirt on and the hair was flowing freely.
Well, first of all, I didn't even realize it was an elf shirt till you named it, so I still have it. I want to show you. I've kept it partly in honor of you. It's actually in not bad shape. And once in a while, I'm just feeling like Legolas. I'll put this thing back on. What I remember is meeting you in Banff at a North American Indigenous Missions Conference. And you and Christina were the coolest, hippest people I've ever met. This gorgeous couple, you with this long black hair, Christina with this beautiful blonde woman. And I just thought, I want to be these people's friends. I was so drawn to you. But the more I got to know you, the more I liked you. I've so enjoyed my friendship over the years, but I do remember looking out at that group of people and thinking, these are the cool kids. I want to get to know them.
So, Mark, after a few years here, we've participated in a couple of endeavors together, and I was just wondering, can you talk to me about New Story, which you and Cheryl will be launching in September?
Tal, this is really, in some ways, what we wanted to do after we retired. We're not quite retiring yet, but it's something where we have, for many years, walked with Indigenous people and fallen in love, and also realized, especially with the women, Indigenous women, how many barriers there are for women, Indigenous women in Canada. And it's not a barrier of lacking capacity, lacking ambition, lacking vision, lacking the know-how or the smarts to get things done. It's simply obstacles that are in the way. And we started to wonder, is there a way that we could somehow come alongside, walk with these women and help kind of dismantle some of those barriers? How it came about right now is an opportunity that opened up this past year to work in partnership with Barnabas Family Ministry, that we can engage with a healing journey with these women, a journey of where they set their own goals, and we remove obstacles to those goals, and then some providing of training, of work experience, of skills to really succeed in the marketplace. Barnabas will bring that part.
So you just mentioned a thing called Barnabas. Can you explain to me a little bit about what that is, please?
Yeah, so Barnabas has been a ministry in operation since the 1980s, founded by Rob and Kathy Bentall, who still have a significant role in that, and they're the ones inviting us to partner with them. The thing about Barnabas is it's got kind of everything. It's got this amazing group of people who work there full time. They have a farm, they have amazing cooking facilities, housekeeping. They've got shops, machine shops, wood shops, a mill, etc. And they've got all the ability to know how to operate these things. So what it'll look like is these women will spend part of each of their day involved in some aspect of the work and ministry of Barnabas, helping with that ministry, but also learning from the skilled people there and learning these various trades or skills that will help them in the marketplace. So that's a partnership that we have a portion that we'll do, but they will help us with that.
So that sounds amazing. Can you tell me, how do participants get involved at New Story? And more importantly, how does it affect and benefit their lives after 8 months with New Story Community?
Yeah, we are going to begin in the spring a search for the 4 women that we want to be part of this first iteration of New Story Community. And we are in conversations with friends that we have in various Indigenous communities in Canada about who would they recommend to be part of this. We're looking at women 18 and older. If there has been any treatment, that we want this post-treatment, that they're ready to kind of start this next phase of getting equipped and continuing a journey of healing. And so sometime in the spring this year, we're going to begin to be inquiring with various groups that we work with. Who do you think would be a suitable candidate for this? What we hope after the 8 months that a woman has been part of New Story Community is that they come out with a number of things. Some goals that they've set have been met, have been accomplished. So that may be educational goals. That may be they don't have a driver's license, they want to get a driver's license. That may be around health issues. They will set those goals, and however we can come alongside to help fulfill those, we will. Secondly, some discipleship piece that will involve, if there's hurt or trauma, some of that being addressed. If there's desire to learn more about what the scriptures say, we'll do that. Training and helping in various Christian practices, and just learning about a lot of stuff. We have a number of people lined up to teach about how do politics works, how does the law work. We have lawyers coming in, and we have politicians coming in to instruct about those things. So that education and healing piece we see as a significant part of those 8 months. Working with Barnabas, we also see that there's all of these skills that could instantly be applied in the marketplace. So if you're looking for work within the food industry, there's skills you're going to have that can immediately translate into good jobs, and etc. And we've also worked out an agreement with Barnabas that these women will be paid for part of their service and help alongside the ministry of Barnabas. So they'll come out with some money to help them sort of launch after they get finished their program. I mean, the other thing, probably the heart of this is it's going to be a community. These 4 women will live together. We'll live not far away from them, but they will live together. And all of the things that people living together have to work out. They have to work out budget. They have to work out what they eat and when. They have to work out who cleans what and the schedule for that. They have to work out just interpersonal things that come up. And so this is a safe community where all of these other pieces are going on, but fundamentally it's about these women becoming friends. And we will be available, and we have other people available to assist, in that journey. And if there's a conflict that erupts or whatever, and somebody has to help kind of navigate that, we'll be available for that. But I really do think that that's going to be one of the keys to the learning, keys to the healing, keys to the success during and after, is this community of people who have kept each other strong and kept each other in course.
So you've talked about some of the short range goals, and some of the things that you're going to be dealing with over an 8-month period and that type of thing. Can you explain to me a little bit about the long-term vision or the long game that New Story Community has?
We were, as I said, thinking about this as a retirement plan, and we're, look how young I am, and I'm not ready to retire. But when the opportunity came up to work with Barnabas, we realized that may be a model for New Story Community after these 8 months. So there's lots of retreat centers, there's lots of camps that would probably be interested in partnering with us in very similar ways, where we come alongside, we find some women to come and be part of a program. They can help that retreat center or camp in delivering on their goals of ministry. But also there's this piece where the women can set some goals for themselves, and they can go on, continue a healing journey. And so we see this as something that could actually take root and begin to spread across Canada. And we would love for that to happen. And we're hoping to overshoot on the fundraising so that we have some seed money to continue this ministry afterward.
So as you're launching New Story in September, why are we talking about this now? And how can we get involved in the here and now?
Yeah, I mean, prayer. This is something that we are unabashedly asking people if they pray for us, for Barnabas, for these women, even though we don't know who they are yet, that they would be soaking this in prayer, leading up to it, during it, afterward. And then we have to raise a bunch of money. This is something that we are not requiring any one of these women coming to come up with any of their own funding for. Yet it's going to cost a fair amount in terms of space rental and other expenses. And so we're actively campaigning for funds, and somebody could make a donation tonight even. We have opportunity for that. And then we're also looking for people who would come alongside in some areas of expertise. We've had lots of conversations, again, because we have a long-range vision for this. Even if right in these 8 months we're heading into, it doesn't work to bring somebody to help with some of the teaching or coaching or some of the healing journey. We're really interested in having that conversation about what it would look like down the road.
For the lack of better terms, I don't want to call you old people, but you and Cheryl, you have some experience, and you might say you're moving into your golden years. Can you explain to me why you and why now?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the question we ask ourselves all the time. Let me answer it first at a kind of a larger level, and then at a really personal level. The larger level, we're people who, because of when we were born, where we were born, the skin color with which we were born, have had we have a lot of privilege, and we didn't even become fully aware of how much privilege we had until maybe the last 10 or 15 years. And some of the women who will be part of New Story have not experienced that kind of privilege. And I think of privilege as access to stuff, access to education, access to government programs, access to just things culturally that we don't even realize we have access to because of where we're born and when we're born and the skin color with which we're born. And so Cheryl and I have a lot of privilege, and many of the women coming will have a lot less. Something powerful happens when people who have more privilege and people who have less come together around a common goal. So this isn't our goal. This is very much about what these women want. And it's not about us coming to the rescue. It's about identifying those things with them and then using whatever privilege we have to get access to things that maybe some of these women wouldn't have access to. And a lot of that really has to do with taking down barriers, not so much providing anything, but some of the barriers that these women face in terms of flourishing and success in life. So the big thing is, why would a couple of old white people? Well, a couple of old white people have more privilege than an average Indigenous woman. And so to use that for the sake of these women flourishing has been growing in her heart. At a personal level, when I was in my 20s, I had somebody at a conference speak a word over me that you're going to be a Caleb. And I didn't really even, it's fairly actually new to scripture, so I didn't really know even what that meant. I looked up the story of Caleb in the Bible, and the story that struck me the most is when he's 85, and he comes to Joshua and he says, I still want a big assignment. Give me hill country, give me giants to fight. I don't want to go down softly. I don't want to, the way we might put it now is I don't want to spend my retirement watching Netflix and playing golf. I actually want to do something that is going to move forward the kingdom of God in some significant way. That was a word given to me in my late 20s. I'm now in my early 60s. And all I can say is that word's grown and grown and grown. And now that I am closer to Caleb at 85 than I was when that word first came to me, I get it. I get it that I don't want a retirement that's simply about lying on beaches or going through golf links or anything like that. I want to actually, in my later years, do more to advance the kingdom of God than I've ever done in my life.
That's great, Mark, and thank you for your time. And I hope that God's blessings will be seen as you serve and as you learn, but more importantly, to those whom you serve.
We're delighted today to endorse Mark and Cheryl Buchanan in the new work that they're starting out. We're Rob and Kathy Bental. We live here on Keats Island, and the Seashell people have been sailing for centuries by here. And Barnabas, which we started 30 plus years ago, is here to help strengthen the family. And it just pairs so well with what Mark and Cheryl are doing. So we're delighted to be a part of it.
We've gotten to know Cheryl and Mark over the many, many years they've come to minister to our guests here at Barnabas. And we're excited for them. And the New Story community will be a wonderful adventure of faith and trust and hope and surrender and the fruit that God will bring as they offer themselves in this new venture, this new story. Will be beautiful to watch and exciting to see.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Lau, Executive Director of CBM. I want to acknowledge that our office is located on the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nations. Well, I am so excited about Cheryl and Mark's new undertaking, New Story Community, which will help to restore God's hope and healing in the lives of young women. CBM is very thankful to be able to support this work, and we will be praying for you as you prepare to launch. In Jeremiah 29, the Lord declares that He knows the plans that He has for us, plans to prosper and not to harm us, plans to give hope and a future. May God bless your vital work of transforming lives in the months ahead.
Waje, Linda Martin Disenkas, Wajashkin Mikdoji, 39 Doji, Ega Severn Cree, Dijigiswe. Hi, my name is Linda Martin. I'm from the Treaty 9 area. My tribal language is Severn Cree. Today, Rick and I want to say how happy we are, how excited we are to see the launching of this new vision that Mark and Cheryl had for Indigenous women. Their vision to minister to Indigenous women who have experienced trauma and to minister within a safe place as the women heal. And so this new story community emerged from that vision.
Yes, we're so excited about it. A community where there's love and support, a safe place for people to grow and to heal.
As an Aboriginal woman, I have experienced much trauma in my life. As an Aboriginal counselor for over 20 years, I have seen the impact of trauma in my people. And this ministry, this kind of ministry, is much needed with our people. And so, Mark and Cheryl, we bless you. We're excited to see what God is going to do.
Hi there, I'm Carolyn Ahrens. My family and I live on the traditional and unceded lands of the Coast Salish people. And I want to read you a quote from Wendell Berry. It goes like this: "Healing is impossible in loneliness. It is the opposite of loneliness. Conviviality is healing. To be healed, we must come with all the other creatures to the feast of the creation." When I first read this quote, I had to look up conviviality. It turns out it means deep friendship, affection, true relationship. And I really believe it's true that healing only happens in relationship, in community. And that's why from the moment I heard about the idea, the vision for New Story Community, something in me said, yes, this is where healing can happen, in community with each other, with the Creator, and with His creation. And if I had to think of two people who understand community and the power of story, I don't think I would put anybody on the list above Cheryl Buchanan and Mark Buchanan. So could not be more excited. Can't wait to see what happens, the kind of healing and transformation that will take place in New Story Community.
Ani, Tanze, Jigabikwe, Natisnakas. Hello, my name is Where the Land and Water Meet Woman. My colonial name is Diane, and I'm a 60 Scoop survivor. I'm a Saulteaux, Cree, and Métis woman residing on Treaty 4 territory in Regina, Saskatchewan. This is the traditional territories of the Nehiyawak, Anishinaabeg, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis. I'm honored to journey alongside Mark and Cheryl as they launch their vision of New Story Community. Their heart for Indigenous people has been evident in their relationships they have nurtured over the years, and their willingness to open their hearts to provide a space for Indigenous women to begin their healing journey, not only supported within a community of Jesus followers, but where their culture will be honored and respected. It has been a blessing getting to know Mark and Cheryl, and I support their vision in New Story Community. Miigwech.
So it's my pleasure to introduce my dear friend, Marnie Elliott, who has been a gift to both Mark and I as we have journeyed with Indigenous peoples and Indigenous communities. I don't actually know if we'd be where we are today if it wasn't for Marnie and her guidance, and for others like Tal that have been so instrumental in guiding us. And so, Marnie, would you introduce yourself to our guests today?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is such a great honor and privilege. So my Hmong name is Hananawet, and my English name is Marnie Elliott. I am a Cowichan First Nations woman, and I work in my own community.
Marnie, you've worked with Indigenous peoples and Indigenous communities your whole professional career, and largely involved with women, people that struggle with mental health issues, and and coming alongside and helping people find wholeness, healing. And so I'd like you to share with us what are some of those most important pieces that are needed for particularly Indigenous women walking in a healing journey?
That's such an incredible question. When I was reflecting on that, one piece that has always come back to me is relationship. It always comes down to relationship, which takes time, it takes energy, it takes more than just, when I was a mental health counselor, it was like 1 hour a week. It takes more than that. And I remember being involved in ministry full time, and our home was always built. So we were sharing life together, and really, I believe that that's what it's all about. So whether that was sharing the tears, sharing the laughter, sharing, helping women raise their children, and also learning and growing together. It wasn't so much about what I was bringing to the table, but what was it that we were bringing together. And that definitely, I think, is what is the key to our healing journey, is that relationship aspect. And it was funny, when we were talking earlier, I was sort of reminded of my own journey with you, and the things that I've learned. I've learned how to run. I've learned how to be scared of who I am and who I was created to be, and being whole, and being broken at the same time. And so it took patience, and I'm so thankful for that you've had that with me on my own journey. And so oftentimes, we're watching for people to walk away. We're watching for people to throw in the towel, because that happens often, and that's what we've known for generations. And so for me, it always comes down to relationship, just being present in the midst of chaos.
Thank you. Well, you've been part of our planning and dreaming about a new story community since God first dropped this idea in our heads. And so how do you think new story community, what are some of the things that you see in it that you think will be beneficial for this healing journey?
It's going to be so big. I think one of them is like yours and Mark's heart for this. This, as you're saying, this has been planted on your hearts for a long time, and so it's coming to fruition. And I think those who you're gathering to come in and to pray and to support, to build relationship, to build community, which is what we know as a First Nations woman, is that we naturally have community. That's what we're born into. We have our grannies and our grandpas and our aunts and our uncles. And so that's what you're going to be establishing, is those relationships. And so that's the piece that I'm so excited about for you and Mark, and for Tal and Graham, and anybody else that you're having come to join this. It will be those aunties and uncles and grannies and grandpas coming in and creating a brand new story.
Thank you. So you obviously have been journeying with us, and we're so thankful that you've agreed to be part of our advisory team as we go forward. But how else do you see yourself being involved in New Story?
So definitely, I think being available when those times come in and those challenging times come in, with the young women who will be joining. Want to be able to just support and share those tears, share those joys, have the hope that it'll take to continue this journey. So to be available for whatever that might look like.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you've brought to one of my retreats I was leading was you brought cedar, and you taught us some of the healing properties of cedar and cedar weaving. And so that's one of the things I'm excited for you to come and be able to share with our women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually just wrote about that moment that I put my hands in the cedar water and just the healing properties that cedar does carry. And it was a journey of recognizing that it's not about the cedar. Cedar doesn't have the power. I'm not praying to the cedar, but really it's about Papa and connecting with me in that way.
Yeah. Marnie, do you have any cautions or concerns for us as we go forward?
I thought about this, and one of the things, so I know that this isn't a treatment center, but with working with women who have gone to treatment centers before, so outside of their own community, that's always a challenge. So when they're home and they're in their community, the familiarity of walking down the street to go to their auntie's house or to their grandma's house or something like that is safety. And so I think that was one of the things that really is standing out for me, is that we're going to be having women leave their community. And so they need to quickly establish that it's a safe place, and that this is a part of their healing journey, and they will get to go back to their community, but with a new beginning. So it was the only thing that really sort of stood out to me.
Thank you. Is there any other wisdom you would like to share with us? Or
yeah, I think one of the things that I think about is the team that you're gathering together. Make sure to stick together. Make sure to bring in those connections for yourself, for Mark, and for the team, just to be able to have those minutes where you touch base, because it will be so busy, and because it is so new, it will be so busy, but it will be so important to make sure you're having that connection for yourself, for Mark, for the team. I was thinking about a prayer that somebody had shared one day, and she was talking about, oftentimes we have these prayers, and so she lifted up, she had a water jug, and she was like, we pray for this, and you pour it in, and you pray for this, and you pour it in, and you keep praying, and it takes a while to sort of see those answers, so you keep adding those prayers, and just before you have that breakthrough, we often sort of throw in the towel, or we get discouraged or disheartened, but it's that continual connection with the team, that continual connection with prayer, to be able to just keep going when it's really tough, and really holding on to the dream of why this was placed on your heart, because it will be painful sometimes, as we've shared before, when we have somebody that we build a relationship with, and we see their hurt and their wounds, and sometimes those repeated going back. It's holding on to why is new story being created, especially in the tough times.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful spending this time with you. I wish we were in person rather than on a screen, but you are a treasure to us, and we are so thankful for your your guiding in our lives. So, Marnie, I bless you. Thank you for being a blessing to us. And hopefully we'll see you soon in the flesh.
Yes, that'll be incredible. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this journey together.
I'm just reading about the vision of New Story Community that Cheryl and Mark Buchanan will be launching on Keats Island soon. I can hardly think of a ministry more vital at this time in our Canadian history, in our context right now. There's a woman very dear to my wife and I whose life has been marked by trauma-related addictions, and had a community and a ministry like this been available at significant times in her life, she would have had a very different life. And we so desperately looked for something like this. So, everything I know about Cheryl and Mark leads me to believe they're precisely the kind of people that would do this in a good way. And so I'm very excited. I'll be praying about this. God bless you.
We are part of Barnabas Family Ministries here on Keats Island, which is located close to the Seashell community. We've been here just for a couple of months as new members of the team at Barnabas. My name's Johnny, and I'm the Operations Director.
And I'm Melissa, and I'm serving as the new Pastoral Care Director. I'm also glad to be serving Mark and Cheryl on the advisory board for New Story.
We are so excited about what Mark and Cheryl are doing and their approach to this ministry. We've been tracking with them for the last decade or so, and they've been great friends to us.
We're really looking forward to the life-giving potential for both Barnabas and New Story and the relationship of this retreat ministry and Mark and Cheryl's vision for discipling and equipping Indigenous women.
Hi, I'm Graham Bruce, former mayor and MLA for the Cowichan Valley. I've been friends with the Buchanans since meeting them at New Life in Duncan. Mark was the pastor there. The church stands on Coast Salish traditional lands across the street from Cowichan Tribes Reservation. Cowichan Tribes is the largest First Nation in British Columbia. They were hosting the 2008 North American Indigenous Games and were in need of several thousand volunteers. So we began our own church reconciliation process by reaching out to the Valley churches to help fill the volunteer need. The games were hugely successful in bringing peoples together. From that point forward, the Buchanans have worked to break down barriers and build friendships with First Nation peoples. And now they're to expand the reconciliation process through New Story Community, one-on-one caring and support for younger First Nation women. People helping people, something Cheryl and Mark continue to do and do well, and something you may well want to be part of. Haichka.
Here's a song exploring why it is we can only heal in community. There's a man in my town who can tell some tall tales, works a job roofing houses. He's tougher than nails, but his voice trails away when he's had a few beers, because he's got some secrets that nobody hears. And everyone sits by their own pool of tears. There's a woman I know who gets angry sometimes, treats her friends just like foes, and she doesn't know why. Says she can't understand when she looks in the mirror who it is she's become, or just how she got here. 'Cause everyone sits by their own pool of tears. Well, we try denial, it helps for a while. We try a million distractions, but when nothing will work, if everything hurts, what if we tried some compassion? I've been looking around in my own neighborhood. We all smile and we wave and we say that we're good, but I can't help but think underneath our veneers we are so close to just to confess what we've known all along. Pain is part of the deal for as long as we're here, but we're not all alone in this. That much is clear, 'cause all of us sit by our own pool of tears. So let's take a deep breath and let's pull up some chairs, 'cause our wounds only heal when we give them some air. There's a remedy found in the lending of years, so whatever goes down through the miles and the years, let's promise each other to come and draw near. Where everyone sits by their own pool of tears. Yes, everyone sits by their own pool of tears.
I'm reading from Luke's Gospel, chapter 7, verse 36 to the end of the chapter. When one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him, he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. A woman in that town who lived a sinful life learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house, so she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume. As she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. Jesus answered him, Simon, I have something to tell you. Tell me, teacher, he said. 2 people owed money to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii and the other 50. Neither of them had the money to pay him back, so he forgave the debts of both. Now, which of them will love him more? Simon replied, well, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt forgiven. You've judged correctly, Jesus said. Then he turned to the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman from the time I entered has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven as her great love is shown. But whoever has been forgiven little loves little. Then Jesus said to her, your sins are forgiven. The other guests began to say among themselves, well, who is this who even forgives sins? Jesus said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. About 20 years ago on Keats Island at Barnabas, I met one of the best mentors I've ever had. His name was Paul, and he took me to places in my formation, my spiritual formation, that I didn't know I could even go. One of the ways he did that is he asked very, very penetrating questions. Questions that went down deep and pulled up from me things I could barely face up to in myself. I could barely admit them to God. I didn't want other people to know them, but he pushed me by his questions in a gentle way, but in an inescapable way, to deal with some stuff in myself. God's like that. He asks really good questions. The first recorded conversation we have between God and people, Adam and Eve, is a series of questions. Where are you? Did you eat from the tree I asked you not to eat from? Who told you you were naked? The very next generation, this question God asked Cain is, where is your brother? And on it goes. These questions, Jesus picks up this habit of asking questions. Do you want to get well? Why do you call me good? And this one, do you see this woman? The irony of this story is that Simon, the host of the party, Simon the Pharisee, thinks Jesus can't see the woman at all. He thinks Jesus is myopic. He doesn't have vision to see. He doesn't understand what kind of woman this is. And so this woman comes in, and Simon instantly knows her past. He's probably seen her in the town many times before, developed an opinion, put a label on her, and he's appalled that Jesus doesn't seem to understand what kind of woman this is. He thinks Jesus can't see for looking. That's the irony of the story. There may be another irony, another story similar to this gives the name of Simon as Simon the leper. Whether it's the same story, same people, we don't know, but it's possible that Simon the Pharisee and Simon the leper are the same person, and that Simon the leper has actually been healed by Jesus and now is trying to sort of figure out a little bit more about him. But if that was the case, that would mean that Simon the leper has experienced some radical new release into a life that he didn't think was possible. Whether that's so or not, Jesus is trying to open the eyes of Simon. Simon thinks Jesus can't see, but it's actually Simon who doesn't have eyes to see. And our spiritual formation has so much to do with how we see ourselves, how we see God, how we see others. Do you see this woman? And so Jesus tries to open the eyes of Simon, and I think us as well. And he first starts to do that by asking, or rather telling Simon a story about two debtors. They're actually stories about fresh starts, new beginnings, new stories. What happens if somebody gets a fresh opportunity to live life different? All the things that have held them captive to their past, all the opinions, all the story in their own head, the realities of circumstances surrounding them. What if those got all wiped clean and that person could start new? That's what the story is about. Fresh beginnings, new stories. But Jesus says, one owed a lot and one owed a little or less, 500 versus 50. And he asks the question, seemingly obvious, who will love the person who forgave them the debt the more? And Simon, he judges correctly. It's the fondest wish of a Pharisee to judge correctly. He says, well, the one who was forgiven the bigger debt, correct? But the question is what is the bigger debt? Well, if we're measuring amounts, 550, 500 is a tenfold increase, so obviously that's the bigger debt if we're measuring amounts. But Jesus pointedly says that neither had the ability to pay. It doesn't matter then if it's a large debt or a small debt. If you have no ability to pay, the debt, in a sense, is identical. It's total. It's 100% indebtedness. And both of them get the debt wiped out. And I think Jesus is trying to open Simon's eyes and ours, saying, how big a debt did you need forgiven? Did you just need a little top up? Or was it 100%? Did you need everything canceled? But then the next move Jesus makes is a lot more explicit. He turns to the woman, she's behind him, talks to Simon, so he's got his back turned to Simon, and he simply says, do you see this woman? The very thing that Simon thinks Jesus can't do. Do you see her? Or do you just see the label you have? Have you locked her into a past that you will not, in your own imaginings, let her escape? Do you actually see her? And he points something out about her, that the very thing that Simon has neglected, the gestures, the things we do when we welcome somebody to a home. In that world, it was to kiss on the cheek, to anoint the head with oil, to wash the feet. We have different customs, but similar. you neglected all of those acts of hospitality, Simon, and she has not stopped them. Jesus' point is that love shows up as lavish welcome, as hospitality. And this woman is welcoming Jesus in a home that Simon hasn't welcomed him in. And Jesus is welcoming this woman into a home that she obviously is not welcome in. Love shows up as lavish hospitality. One of the things that Cheryl and I have discovered over the years we've walked with Indigenous women is that many people don't see them or don't really see them as they are. They're invisible to many people, or they see them in all the wrong ways. Do you see this woman? Well, Jesus says to this woman that he sees. Others can't. Simon can't. He says to her, go in peace. Go in shalom. Go to live your life in a way that you live out the freedom, the peace of God that you have discovered. Go live that. In many ways, the story then raises the question, well, where does she get to go where she's not going to keep running into people like Simon who don't see her or see her in all the wrong ways? And our dream for New Story Community is she could go there. That's a place where she'll be seen for who she really is. There'll be a new story, a fresh beginning, abundant grace. And not only will that happen in New Story, but it will be the ongoing fruit of New Story. Thanks so much for being part of this launch, and thanks for supporting New Story Community.
Hey everybody, it's Russ Rosine here from Bez Arts Hub in Langley, BC, on the unceded territories of the Kwantlen people. Also the Matsqui and Katsi and Semiamu, they all share this area. And Sandy and I, we run Bez Arts Hub here and welcome all kinds of folks into an experience with the arts. All kinds of live music and dance and stuff happens here. And it's a privilege for us to give a shout out to Mark and Cheryl Buchanan for their new work of the New Story Community, which is so exciting. And we're just happy to be involved in some way. And I know we're going to be connecting with them throughout the process of launching this. And so anyways, I thought I would give you a song to sing. Maybe you can tap along, sing along, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be sections of this video edited out, but this is a song called Wide is the Welcome, which I thought was kind of appropriate. Wide is the welcome, deep is the love, Heavenly Father been heaping on us. Endless compassion, outrageous grace. He won't withhold his loving embrace. He made us uniquely and loves us completely and gave us the gift of his Son. Oh, wide is the welcome, deep is the love. Soak in the sunset, swim in the sea. I let beauty wash over me. Soften my heart where it's bitter and hard. Kindness of God has me turning toward a life of forgiveness, a generous love feast found in the gift of His Son. Oh, wide is the welcome, deep is the love, yeah. All are invited, none are forgotten. Follow the path that Jesus walked on. Declare the news, the kingdom is here. Light has come and it's pushing back fear. The way is narrow but strength incomparable, found in the gift of His Son. Oh, wide is the welcome, deep is the love. Wide is the welcome, deep is the love. Hope you feel the welcome.
Well, thank you, Russ. Wide is the welcome and deep is the love. Thanks for all the people who are part of that video. Special shout out to our dear friend Carolyn Aarons and the song Pool of Tears that she sang, and everyone who contributed. We're so grateful for each of you. And once again, our son Adam compiled all of that. So thank you, son, for doing that.
I want to make special mention of our dear friends Clarence and Olivia Wesley from Morley Nation. We had videoed a conversation with them as well, but unfortunately my husband's technical skills are not quite the same as my son's, and so unfortunately the audio didn't come through for them.
I feel really bad about that. They were amazing friends. And at some point we will get, maybe when our son's in, we can interview them again, and we can post it on our website. About our website, it's www.newstorycommunity.net. And any information you want, we're going to keep populating that. This video, it will be on it. The various testimonies that we have now and we'll have in the future will be on it. And ways to give. It's pretty easy. It's basically a click away. There's a number of ways you can give to New Story Community. You can give monthly, you can give one-time donations. A number of people have given matching grants, and then we can put the news out and invite others to give toward that. We also have a wish list on our website, so www.newstorycommunity.net. Above all, we want your prayers. This thing has been soaked in prayer. We feel daily the need for prayer for this, for what's going to happen on Keats Island, prayer for us, but especially for these women. They're flourishing. Again, the mission statement of New Story Community is to promote the flourishing of Indigenous women in a place of safety, beauty, and community. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this. And we look forward to our ongoing relationship with you.